over a 2-3 year time frame. It's hard to say whether it will start in this financial year or not, but I think over a 2 to 3 year time frame, I think earnings growth could be a lot higher versus what it has been over the last 5 to 10 years.
Catch Nilesh Shah on Market Makers only on ET Now.
Hello and welcome to a special show called DPD, Direct Port Delivery, an initiative under Ease of Doing Business supported by JWC Logistics here on ET Now. Now, as you know, India has a huge coastline, about 7,500 kilometers, and we have around 212 ports that account for about 95% of India's international trade by volume and about 70% by value. But you know, there are always some hurdles that importers and exporters face. Now, the Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, which is the largest port in India and handles the most, by far, a majority of all the trade that happens in the country. Now, they have recently started this service called the Direct Port Delivery, or DPD, which is going to be helpful to importers so that they can cut costs as well as reduce the time taken by them. Now, I have an expert panel here with me who's going to be shedding some more light on this. Allow me to introduce them to you. First up, we have Dr. John Joseph. He's the Chief Commissioner at the Jawaharlal Nehru Custom House. Mr. Neeraj Bansal. He's the Deputy Chairman at JNPT. Mr. Vinod Bhatt, Head of Logistics at HP India. And Mr. Umesh Grover, he's the Secretary General at the Container Freight Station Association of India. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here. Dr. Joseph, first question to you. So DPD, Direct Port Delivery, could you explain what this means?
Yeah, this DPD, or the Direct Port Delivery, is part of the initiative called Ease of Doing Business initiative of the Government of India. The idea of the entire process is that the importer, the person who brings the material to the country, gets the material at the fastest possible time across the borders. We need to see that the crossing across international borders, time has to be reduced to the shortest possible time, so that the value will be added, the cost will be cut down, and the cash flow will increase for the importer who is importing it.
I see, I see. Mr. Bansal, you at the port, obviously there are at times when there are delays or like queues of containers held up for whatever reasons that happen. What's your thought on this after DPD? Is this starting to help reduce those delays there?
See, first you have to understand the business process. In the conventional business module at JNPT, any container which is imported into India first comes to the terminal yards. From there it is moved to the CFSs after a 1.5 day period. So we arrange a local transport to move a cargo from terminals to the CFSs. It's a movement of cargo from one custom bound area to another custom bound area. And there used to take around 7 to 8 days for clearance of cargo. Out of charge is given from CFSs after 7-8 days. And another transport is arranged and the cargo moves to the hinterland. If you look at the total time taken in this whole process, that used to come to almost 9.5 days. And there used to be multiple shiftings, handlings used to happen. And there used to be 2 transport loops. Under DPD, this will transform. Here, the customer will pick up the container from the terminal itself. It will not route through the CFS, and it will go directly to the hinterland. Okay. So, reducing this time from 9 days to 2 days, and logistic cost will come significantly down. So, the mission of Government of India and Ministry of Shipping to reduce the transaction cost and time can be met through this initiative.
Okay, interesting. Mr. Bhatt, in your personal experience, how is DPD helping you as an importer here in India?
It makes a very significant difference to our business.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I can say very clearly that all our business is all about logistics, supply chain efficiencies, which talks of cost and TAT. So when I say TAT, it's all about the logistics turnaround time, how quickly we give to the customer.
Of course.
So the DPD is going to drastically, sort of reduce our efficiency, increase our efficiencies by reducing the TAT and contribute to a lot of cost benefits to the customers. In fact, to our end customers also, not only to companies like HP.
Mr. Grover, but I'll play a little devil's advocate with you. So you're representing the CFS, all the CFS owners, service providers there. This DPD, like Mr. Bansal was saying, will help expedite the movement of containers, so definitely they might bypass the CFS. That will take a hit on the CFS owners. What are they doing to innovate, to reinvent themselves?
I think DPD is a national agenda and is non-negotiable. So we understand that yes, it is going to come and it's going to be there. We are supportive of the DPD.
Right.
We would be willing, it's the importer who drives the trade. All stakeholders are supportive of the trade and we will all fall in line as the importer moves.
Okay, interesting. Dr. Joseph, coming back to you, can you explain to me a little bit about what are some of the parameters that an importer needs to fulfill before they can apply to, avail of the benefits of DPD?
Yeah. The importers, I think what happened was earlier, the government has started this project in the year 2008, if you look at that way. But only hardly 30 to 40% or 40 importers have actually availed this facility. Okay. And there are no increase or dramatic increase in the people who are asking for DPD has also happened in Mumbai. So when I came in and took charge here, we said, okay, look, we will try to identify the importers who are the best importers, who can be trusted by us.
Of course, yes.
So we made a list of those people and said that, okay, we ourselves are granting them the DPD facility, provided they provide us the details of them, because they need to be registered with the terminals also. Naturally, without that one, I can't be allowing the clearance to happen. So we initiated a very simple process, asking for 3 documents only, and which can even be mailed also. We don't require the hard copies. Hard copies can come later.
All right.
And to make it easier for them, we said, okay, we will have a separate DPD cell in the customs itself with the deputy commissioner in charge, who will collect the data, who will disseminate it to the terminals and get them registered in both the terminals as well as in the our custom house also. Okay. And once the gentleman takes registration, there are 2-3 things that he has to do. What happens when a vessel comes in, it is supposed to report to the port. Then it moves into the wharf, comes alongside. So that happens only when customs gives a process called entry inwards. It is a legal term by which a vessel is allowed to come near the port and start discharging. Before I came, what happens is that, okay, it takes almost 4 to 5 hours after the notification to the port to get this entry inwards. So there is a delay. Once I give the entry inwards only, then they can start discharging the container. Right. So we said, okay, the moment it is informed to the port, we give it. So that means that 4 hours is cut.
Yes.
Once the entry inwards comes in, terminal starts discharging into the wharf, all the boxes. These boxes need to go to the CFS, which is owned by the association, CFS owners. From the CFS, by the time it reaches CFS, if the importer files the bill of entry, there is something called a bill of entry which needs to be filed. Every importer will claim that these are my goods, I need to clear it, I am willing to pay the duty, and these are my items that are coming in. There is something called a bill of entry that needs to be given to the customs.
Yes.
He files it in the customs, then the customs officer assesses it, whether what he declared is correct or not. If he has got a doubt, he will ask them produce more documents. So it necessarily involves an examination of the cargo. So the container needs to be opened.
Okay.
Officers will see it and examine the whole thing in the CFSs, because that is only where the provisions are there, because there is no space in the terminals per se. Once that process is over, importer pays the duty. Then he clears the goods, called outer charge. The whole process almost, as he rightly points out, last year World Bank report, it takes almost 9 to 12 days.
Right, yes.
That is the time that is being taken. And if you look at the breakup of these things, it's a very interesting, revealing thing when I came here. The person has to file the bill of entry, without which customs cannot do anything. It takes minimum of 3 to 4 days from the date by which the date of entry inwards to the filing of the bill of entry. It takes almost 3 to 4 days. Okay. That means the importer doesn't file. So nobody can do anything.
Yes.
Where even if he wants to push it out, you can't give it to anybody.
Of course. Of course.
Then it goes to assessment. Customs takes 1 to 1.5 days for that. Then it goes to assessment, then he has to pay the duty. After assessment, he has to pay the duty. That takes almost minimum 1 to 1.5 days. From payment of duty, then he has to go to the docks or the CFS.
Okay.
What is actual position? He has to register the goods, saying that my goods is here, kindly examine it, I have paid the duty, allow it to be cleared. There is a docks officer. So that takes almost minimum, after paying duty, mind you, I am supposed to be interested in taking the goods, but still I wait for 2 to 3 days. Then he goes to the customs.
Yeah.
Then he gets it cleared. There also it takes 1 day, because by the time he comes in the afternoon or evening, by the time entire thing is over, next day is over, night is over, so you won't get it.
So with DPD, how much has this period come down?
Now we have drastically brought it down. We have made it consciously. It took some time, because you have to educate every stakeholder. I can really proudly point out to you that day for yesterday, we have been only 124 hours from entry inwards to the last box getting out. And mind you, when you look at the air cargo time, Bombay Air Cargo, this is one of the most efficient air cargo in the country. They are doing it at 115 hours. I am doing it in the port at 124 hours.
Fantastic.
So this, I think it is something like unbelievable sort of thing we are able to do that with all the help of all the stakeholders. It's not because of the customs alone. And I think with this rate, if you are able to maintain for a few days or few months, then I think we will be the best in the world, and I can assure you that.
Fantastic. Mr. Bansal, when this DPD was starting to be implemented, what were some of the challenges that were faced at the port? How was that process?
The biggest challenge of implementing DPD lies with the ports.
Yes.
Because JNPT is not designed to cater to a non-CFS model. It's a CFS model port.
I see.
Where yards have been kept minimal size. Equipments are only to cater to this shore to yard and yard to shore activity. And manpower has been recruited according to that. And for the last 26 years, the whole cargo was being moved to the CFSs, and it was being done in a very efficient fashion. Any ship which comes to the port, the cargo is stacked into 33 heaps for the CS container freight stations and almost 40 ICDs. So all cargo is stacked into 70 odd heaps.
Right.
So my cranes are designed as per that. Now custom has given DPD permission to 778 clients. Now the heaps become almost 850. So I cannot cater to that in my yard area because my equipments and manpower are a big challenge.
Right.
We are aligning to maintain our efficiency in the port because we are probably the most efficient port in India as far as the port operations are concerned, and to give the most efficient direct port delivery. So there is a huge pressure on the entire port logistics and port infrastructure.
Right.
But our commitment remains there that will cater to not only 778, even to 1,000 clients.
Top of the world with Times Network. And you're watching ET Now.
The stage is set to crown the best budding business minds from across the globe in Lisbon, Portugal during the KPMG International Case Competition.
We need to be ready of any crisis that comes our way.
We have an IT solution that everything is captured.
Recognize a crisis before it becomes a crisis.
A contest challenging and inspiring B-School students, testing their ability to respond in real-life like business situations. Presenting KPMG International Case Competition. An opportunity to network and seek mentoring from KPMG professionals to hone your knowledge and skills to test your mettle in Lisbon, Portugal against the best talent in the world. Only on ET Now.
महिंद्रा ने दी ब्लेजो पे गारंटी, ज्यादा माइलेज नहीं तो ट्रक वापस, और 4 करोड़ किलोमीटर के बाद एक भी ट्रक वापस नहीं आया, एक भी नहीं, और यह आपके बिजनेस को ले जाएगा सबसे आगे। महिंद्रा ब्लेजो, फ्यूल स्मार्ट CRDE का फायदा गारंटी के साथ।
Open up to adventure. Fruits Up. Real fruit juice. Real fizz.
I'm Renuka, and this is what I do.
Our country has always been lifted by intelligence. Intelligence for a higher purpose. Introducing the all-new E-Class. Intelligent Drive, Burmeister Surround Sound, Air Body Control, and the first luxury saloon to offer reclining rear seats. So you have the finest E-Class ever. Masterpiece of intelligence.
implementing DPD, what were some of the challenges that you have overcome? What are some of the way ahead? What are you seeing some great possibilities for your respective associations, companies that you're representing?
See, clearly DPD is all about benefits, right, to the industry.
Of course.
The challenge what I see is twofold. One is internally as well as externally. When I say internally, for my own sales team, right, we have to go and convince them, we should optimize.
Representing.
See, clearly DPD is all about benefits, right, to the industry.
Of course.
The challenge what I see is twofold. One is internally as well as externally. When I say internally, for my own sales team, right, we have to go and convince them, we should optimize more ocean freight, which has got a cost benefit, compared to air freight from a capacity perspective. But with all this initiative that everything has come down, so I'm able to withstand those challenges back in our own system. To convince them, to optimize freight through ocean freight through all these initiatives, and the other is a bit of externally, right? How we manage. I think so. To be honest to you and to be fair to the CFS, industry, they have been extremely supportive. At least I can speak of HP.
Right.
We have a clearance done very seamlessly. But obviously, good is not good enough. We should keep on improving, right? And that's all this initiative what Dr. John and obviously Mr. Bansal have, along with the whole government initiatives, it makes a lot of difference for us. So even a day's, sort of savings leads to millions of dollars saving from inventory perspective.
I'll add to Mr. Bhatt's view. A logistic cost of direct benefit of 10,000 rupees comes up if I work out a minimum charges of CFS.
Okay.
And then 7 days detention. So it all depends upon the cost of the cargo. The higher if it's a higher cost,
yes,
you work out the savings out of that. And then it has a drastic impact on the inventory also.
Of course.
Because I am realizing one thing here in the port ecosystem, there are a lot of anxiety in the EXIM trade. More and more CFS use is happening because of anxiety. Somebody is importing cargo much in advance. He is not sure when his cargo will reach his factory. So that's why there are a lot of unproductive detention is happening.
So I guess with this movement, if once
Obviously,
they start getting a kind of a quicker fixed time that they know it's quickly going to come out, we can start moving towards the just-in-time management, which will obviously cut inventory
and I think the point what you're saying is it's not only about the speed but about being predictable also.
Yeah, exactly. You know it. Just your thoughts on some of the challenges that might be faced by the industry.
The challenges by CFS industries, obviously the volumes are going to be hit. But I feel the CFSs, having created this infrastructure, can be a partner in DPD. And like Mr. Bhatt mentioned, there's a lot of organized trade, like companies like his, who would be definitely benefit with the DPD. Still, a lot of boxes will continue to flow to CFSs because the target for DPD is about 40%. Like Mr. Bansal mentioned, it's built on a CFS model. So it would be the DPD would be able to support some volumes, not all. Because if we go in for overloaded, then it become counterproductive. And CFSs, we believe, will continue to get a fairly good amount of business.
We are just running out of time. But just in closing comments, Dr. Joseph, if you could start and then we'll go down the line. Just your closing comments and just the thoughts that you have on mind.
No, as Mr. Gaur was rightly pointing out, the CFS were very much worried that, okay, this will throw them out of business.
Right.
When we started this initiative in a very full steam sort of thing. But then I could also convince them, and there is a huge requirement in the industry for the CFS. Because I will explain to you how it works. When we talk to these importers also, why they were reluctant to come, because there must be a reason why the fellows must be, people are not coming forward for the DPD. Everybody is having a problem, individual to each type of industry, each type of business also.
Yes.
Every importer. Importer may be getting a huge consignment in one go. He may not have that much place of storage place in his factory. So he need to keep it in some warehouse. He doesn't have warehousing facility anywhere.
Right.
So he need a warehouse. Second thing, some of the importers get huge containers which need to be distributed to their different locations in the country. There must be a place where they should be able to break the bulk.
Of course.
De-stuff it and do the thing. Then there will be something called huge materials which cannot be transported through road will come through the containers, which need to be de-stuffed and put on trucks. You cannot transport it just like that. Flat trucks are coming in. So that creates a problem. Thirdly, there are certain compulsory compliance requirements of the law that there has to be a fixation of maximum retail price.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yes.
This one, other examiners are there. There has to be a place. You can't examine it in the port. There is no way you can do that one. So for all, and then there is something called the customs examination also does this one, because maybe almost 1.2 lakh boxes are getting cleared in a month. I don't have that much facility to examine, open and examine everything. We have a robust system called the risk management system, which picks up things which could be slightly dicey. We examine those and see that, okay, if somebody is not doing the thing according to the law, fix him properly, so that the message goes to everybody. That is the way we work. So for that also, that examination needs to be done. There is no space in the terminal, so it has to be done by the CFS. So I called all the meetings of the CFS, Mr. Grover was also there. We told them, change your business model.
Yes.
So now almost out of 33 CFS, I think 24 people have applied. They have gone into a warehousing model. Part of the things they have made into total warehousing. That means duty paid containers or clear containers can be stored there till the person requires it. Secondly, they do have a customs bonded warehouse also. Some of the people what do they have is that, okay, they don't have the money to pay. There's a cash flow issues.
Yeah.
I get the money, but I don't have the money. Secondly, I don't have the money to pay the duty also. So they will be keeping it in a customs bonded warehouse. Whenever I have the money, I will pay it and pay the export also from the other country and take my goods out.
So it's smoothing out.
It is smoothing out. And that is why the CFS have been getting a lot of business. Now, if you look at the current scenario, maybe we are daily discharging around 1,200 boxes in DPD.
Okay.
Out of that mode, almost 50 to 60% is by the CFS mode only.
Okay.
Because CFS are going to use this, the importers are using the CFS as a logistic partner. Other importers are directly taking it from the port. These importers need the CFS because that is a requirement they do have.
I understand.
So they do that one.
Fantastic.
And then because the changes, as I rightly pointed out, people are not able to catch up with the changes that is coming in. So my request to the industry is that, okay, they should move forward, come forward, and I think we should be able to beat the air cargos. And his logistics problems could be solved because the industry which requires most of the things just in time, we should be able to give it in 1 day to 2 days. In 48 hours we can do that one. So our catchword is catch us if you can.
Fantastic. All right. Mr. Bansal, your closing comments.
We are working on a wholesome solution. Exim Trade has 3 components with us. One is the terminal efficiency. Probably during last 1.5 years, we are meeting all international standards now. So my export dwell time, which is a concern for the exporter, has come down from old 120 hours to now almost 76 hours. And if I'm looking at import dwell time, which used to be almost 60 hours in the past, we have brought it down below 36 hours. And if you look at the efficiency of port operations, we are way ahead of our peers here in India, and globally we can match it. So that is one part where we are handling cargo very efficiently. And then comes the DPD, where we are working on importers so that there is a huge benefit for them. The number has increased significantly. It has come up to 15%. The target, initial target is 40%. Future target, we are looking at that what sort of benefit we can provide to industry that must come. CFSEs are going to play a critical role in this port ecosystem. A lot of apprehension are there unnecessarily. Kindly remember, JNPT is on a progressive curve. In next 7 years, we are going to double our capacity. Today, I handle 4.5 million TUs annually, and by 2022-23, our target is 10 million. And if my cake size is becoming bigger, if CFS are just realigning their businesses where they provide more cheaper warehousing facility for this DPD, they align with the trade. That is going to be the game changer. They remain relevant and they keep on playing critical role.
Fantastic. Mr. Bhatt, your closing comment.
It's a win-win situation. From a government perspective, from the regulatory body, from the industry perspective, from the CFS also. The whole ease of doing business, the rankings, this really helps to improve that. And with the upcoming GST piece, so that's point number 1. Which really is the vision what the government and obviously Dr. John and Mr. Bansal has put in for the industry. Apart from those tangible cost and TAT benefits, what we see is we are able to give an enhanced service to our customers. End of the day, we got a customer sitting outside. People like you and you go and buy them. So the experience should go to them. With the whole cost, if you are able to optimize cost, we can invest in innovation. We can get better products to them. If you reduce the time, we can get things speeder to them.
Mr. Grover, your final comment.
Most of the ports globally work at 70% efficiency, and that's what is the optimal efficiency. Beyond that, a port becomes inefficient. Now, JNPT works at 100%. It's thanks to the CFSs who keep evacuating, the vessel comes in, and the cargo keeps moving. So that's how we have touched a volume of 4.4 million year on year for the last 3-4 years. So it's a great achievement, but CFSs have played a role. They will continue to play a role. Only our appeal to the regulator, etc., is that like the port, which is a CCSP under HCCR 2009, so are the CFSs. They are full-fledged car. So if even the containers which are, whether the out of charge is done in the port or CFSs, we are also ready for that and give us an opportunity on that.
Fantastic.
And we'll be a partner to your successor.
Fantastic. But before we wind up, we're going to be launching a very special handbook on FAQs on DPD, which has been created by the Mumbai Customs. So I'll request the panelists to please do the honors. On that note, thank you, Dr. Joseph, Mr. Bansal, Mr. Bhatt and Mr. Grover. Thank you so much for being here, and we hope we've been able to shed some more light on DPD. Thank you so much for watching.